I'm going to show you how to collage in Photoshop, and it might also give you some ideas of how to collage it in Paper too. So I'm going to put this picture of this model, and I can also try it on, a drawing, and put it into a scene. I'm going to add a person to it to scale. Let's go into Google Earth. Let's find ourselves. It's right here. Okay. So because I have the photo of the model first, like I'm not going to be taking a new picture of this, I'm just working with this. I need to try and match the perspective here. And let's see. It might take a few tries. Let's see about this. There's the snipping tool in Windows you can use. So I'm copying that, going into Photoshop. Anytime you have something copied, you can make a new file in Photoshop, Control N, and just leave the settings as is, hit enter, Control V again to paste it in like this. So now let's see if I can select around this, but I'm going to use the object selection tool, this magic tool here. If you don't see this object right here, or like that button, first go to Window, Workspace, and make sure you're at Essentials Default. Workspace, Essentials Default. Then maybe you see like this one or this one. You have to click and hold, move over here, and this is the icon you want because you can click and drag around it. Your computer, depending on how fast it is, apparently might take some time. This is mostly selected properly, though I'm noticing there's a few gaps that should be here. So holding Alt and mouse wheel. By the way, you need a mouse. You need a mouse. Oh my god. Pressing and holding to get this soft lasso tool. Holding Alt while I click and drag is subtracting from this selection, which is what I want to do right now. I'm not being too perfect with this. If you start somewhere and stop somewhere and let go, it's going to straighten the connection between the 2 points. So I can first select that, then I can let that bridge like that. Let's maybe if I want to be fancy. Okay, so now this is all selected, and make sure your feather is on 0. Control copy, bring it over, Control paste. Nope, it didn't do it right. Let me go back. I think it's because I have this selected. Control copy, go to this, Control paste. There we go. And I can right click on this layer. If you don't see this, maybe it's on the bottom here. Layers. This should be visible all the time. Right click on this layer of this model and convert to Smart Object. It's worth doing at the beginning. And Control T is transform. And I'm going to scale it a bit down to size. Zoom in a little bit as I go. I just want this to fit in with the perspective of this scene. And I suppose this Google Earth should be looking more down at it and at an angle. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to try this. Let's see if this is better. Select it around there, copy, go to this. I'm going to just set that there. Go to this other layer so that I'm pacing over it. And this is the new layer. It's could be still rotated more. Hide these. Go back to this. Zoom in. This. Let's see. Copy. Go here. It looks better. looks like maybe it should be down a little bit. Although that could be a good spot for it. Let's say it's there, because I want to show you how to put this behind this building, even though this is just a flat image. So let's say this is going to go here. I'm going to label everything. It's just good practice, especially in a tutorial. So label this as foam core tower model, and then this as background 1. I'm just going to delete these older backgrounds because I don't need them. I can also delete this background layer. I don't need that either. I can crop this in since my new scan or the Google Earth image isn't as big. Okay, and then I'm going to duplicate this. Right click and duplicate layer. Okay. Gonna hide the foam core model, and I'm going to select this haze building. I can drag there. Okay, so it's not perfect, but if I hold shift and click that, okay, looking good. If I zoom in, are there any things here? Probably want this to be out of it, that pixel. Okay, looks good. I mean, this doesn't actually matter here, but as if it did. Okay, so then I can copy paste. So if I hide these other layers, I have a layer now that's just Haze Hall here. So I can put that on top of this other foam core tower model. See, that way, no matter where this is, the haze model is on top of it. If I'm saying it's right here. If I want to like tweak this a little bit, I mean, maybe I might make it a little bit smaller. I mean, should this be on top of that? I don't know. I think it's good to show how to make it behind stuff, or even like behind trees. Like, say if I were to have it, where are some trees? Oh, I gotta make sure it's visible still. Like, no matter what you're putting in front of it, the process is the same. Where, go to your layer where there's everything. You can hide everything else, and then you're just like selecting the tree itself. I mean, with Google Earth trees like this, they're pretty loose anyway. And then I'm going to paste it, copy paste, name it, because otherwise you're going to get lost with these. And then put it above your other image. That way I could put a tree in front of it like this. Okay, so then let's take this foam core model, and we can, since it's a smart object, the right click and I made it a smart object, I can do some effects to it that are not permanent, meaning I can change them later. Under the what I want to do, I can do vibrance. Vibrance is like almost like saturation. Saturation can bring it down because I just want to like make it match. Anytime you're doing any effect at all, like any like curving effect, I highly suggest that you click the preview button back and forth until like you know, even potentially can forget which one was the effect, and so that you can make a truly honest decision about, does this look better like this or like this. I'll say it looks better like this. Oh, look at that. It is with the effect, so I'll keep it. I can go to levels. If you're taking drawings like sketches, like you'll definitely use levels a lot. But, you know, say if I do this or something, and it's like, well, that looks like, you know, more stylized, but if I switch back and forth between preview, it's like, well, I like that one better. It's like, okay, so I don't want that effect. I mean, there is the auto, but who knows? Yeah, it's like, that was the auto. I don't know if I like that as much. What is it doing? Oh, is it doing the red and green and blue separately? Interesting. it's like if you want to split the difference, you can always duplicate the layer, do it to one effect, and then put it at half opacity. I'm going to keep this simple. I don't think I need that. Or if I do, maybe it's just a tiny bit. Sure. Something that I think is good to just like know how to do is how to make an outline or like a shadow. It's a layer effect. So while this layer is selected, layer style, drop shadow first, and it might come off like way too heavy at the beginning. You got like some basic parameters here, the size, the distance, this is the angle, so you can see what it's doing, right? If I just make the distance a little bit and the size a little bit, and then the opacity even down, and again, anytime I'm doing any effect, I can toggle the preview to be like, do I really like what I just played with? And I'm just trying to emphasize one thing from the other. If you're doing this by hand, the little drop shadow is natural. It's like literally one piece of paper to another piece of paper. But this size, it's just like to make this pop out just a tiny bit more. You can also add a stroke that's literally just like an outline like that. If you're doing a more diagrammatic, very like pop, simple image collage, I would do that more. I'm going to just leave it like that. Okay, let's add a person. Let's add Corey. So using the object selection tool, select around them, let it think for a second, and how's Studio? How's it going? Good? Wonder how long this takes. Okay, there you go. Didn't select his hand. Hold Shift, click again, and really like practice with Photoshop is going to be what helps. You need a mouse and any computer program in order to be fast at it. You need two hands at the ready. You know, my left hand is on the keyboard all the time. Copy that, paste that in here. It's a new layer. This is Corey the Giant. He doesn't need to be that big. Put Corey. What layer was this? Oh, this was haze, so I should layer that. Okay. I'm gonna turn them into a smart object. That means a smart object I can like scale down and it's not gonna lose any quality if I want to scale it back up later. Let me zoom down because we're looking down at this angle. It means that this image is going to be proportioned a bit because say they are a giant and we're looking down on them, they're going to be stressed. So I can undo this chain which is making the proportions match, and I can just kind of shorten them a little bit. It's kind of all I can do. Ideally, you want to take the pictures at the angles that they are, but let me just kind of do that. Okay, and then continue scaling it down until it's the size of a person at this distance. How big is that? It's pretty small. So they're so small that you don't even really recognize them, and I'm going to do an effect, a layer style that will make this make more sense, but I'm going to just put them up there, and I clicked on this to like kind of set it. So there Corey is up on that thing, and I can go to layer style and do a color overlay if I want to just make, you know, the person, highlight them as more of like an outline. Okay. Because at a distance that might pop more than that. though that looks a little bit more natural. What else should I do? I mean, new Photoshop has the built-in AI stuff, but I don't think you necessarily need to play with that too much. Say if you want to make like a pathway or something, like you can always this is, I kind of don't want to confuse you with too much at once here, so let's just say that that's good. Oh, you know what I can do? I can give a little bit of shadow or outline to Hayes Hall. I can right click on this and copy the layer styles on the foam core model and then paste it onto this one. So you see that added it. I can turn it on and off. And I can make this one individual from that, but that way there's just like a little bit more of an outline here. I might make it so if I double click, I can individually set this one even at a different angle. Let's see, size a little bit, because I can like soften it like that. That way it just pops out against this. This is more like hidden inside. And then I'm just saving this as a Photoshop, or like it's harder to just print to Photoshop, but Photoshop is a big document. So I can make this a JPEG, I can make this a PNG, JPEG, or just leave it as Photoshop and save it somewhere. I can show you also how to make it with a drawing like this. So select around this, let it think, and okay, copy and paste it in here, make this a smart object. Control T is transform. Because I unclicked this here, that means like I can accidentally scale this like that. So to not do that, I'm holding shift while I'm scaling it. And let's see where we can put this that it makes sense. I can rotate it a little bit. I have no idea how big this thing is. I mean, that looks good. So I'm going to move some trees in order to do this. Okay, paste that there. I might also paste the layer style here too, but I'm going to angle it a little differently. That shadow there. Maybe the distance is lower, the size, the spread. Okay, and let me just copy a patch of this, or even let me take a piece of this empty field, copy, paste, and make grass in this drawing. V on the keyboard is move, so I'm going to move this over here, and I just want it really like have it here and just around that. So then once I put it there, I can just kind of erase around. I'm only using it where I need to. This is like just basic stuff to begin with. And let's see, do I want to keep some of that? If I want to make this softer, I can make the hardness down. This is in pencil mode versus brush mode. Okay. And let's say I want to like change the levels of this. Go to the drawing layer, adjustments, levels. Let's see, make it a little darker, make it a tiny bit brighter. So I'm gonna have to decide, do I like it the way it was or like that? Kind of like it the way it was, and just kind of soften it until I like it. with the effects. So I like that. That's basically it. You know, if I want to put another tree in front of it, then go back to the background layer and select around this tree, copy that, paste, oops, cancel, tree, put this in front of the drawing, V is move, take that and put it in front there, sure. You know, this would be in shadow, but I don't feel like getting into that. It's not worth it at this point for you. So this is going to erase some of that. Sure. Good enough? And make sure you save it before you exit everything like I just did. Hopefully I am recording this. Okay, yeah, it's all good.